Hello and welcome to Nurture Notes with me, Naomi Aidoo. We are in Luke 22. If you are new here, then hi, welcome. My name's Naomi Aidoo. I am an author, a coach, a Bible teacher and a YouVersion partner. And here with these Nurture Notes, which I go through weekly here on YouTube and via email if you like a more written version, then you're in the right place for all of that good stuff. We're currently in the Gospel of Luke, but I am, and this is for you if you are on my email list, running a poll at the moment which ends at the end of this week to discuss what we're going to go into in the new year. Always looking at biblical truth with practical application. But I've got a poll happening right now in my email newsletter where we are discussing the different themes that we might look at next year, God willing, or whether we look at another book of the Bible, because we are indeed almost finished with the Gospel of Luke. Today we're looking at the notion of unseen, unnamed, and perhaps you are in that place right now, and so this might be something that's quite fitting for you. I guess all of us at different points in our lives have felt overlooked and as though what it is that we're doing is perhaps wasted, and it's not. Spoiler alert. And this nurture note is just an opportunity to kind of think through that. So if that sounds like something you're into, and indeed if you do enjoy these nurture notes regularly and you're not yet a subscriber, please do subscribe. It means more than you know to a creator like me who brings these free weekly messages, and it helps me to know that you're supporting and enjoying what it is that I'm putting out. And so thank you very much for being here. So when I started writing this nurture note, I did actually start thinking about the fact that my second book, which is going to be published in a couple of months, references Bluey quite a lot. The reason I thought about that is because in thinking about Luke 22 and what I've just shared with you about the unnamedness, which I'm about to come to, I thought about a line from Hamilton. Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? And ultimately our story is told by Jesus, and thinking about what he'll tell is kind of what helped me to frame today's message, but also got me laughing to myself about how many references I make to shows in my work. And so if that's your thing, then hopefully you're happy with it, and if it's not your thing, I hope that you'll still stick around for the fact that I do eventually get to the Bible, like right now. So what struck me first and foremost in this powerful chapter of scripture, Luke 22, was actually verse 10, and I want to read from verse 10 to 12, because it says, "As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters, and say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asks, where is the guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there." And truly it got me thinking, we don't know anything else about this man, as far as I know, the owner of the house and the water bearer. We don't know their story, but we do see this significant moment in their lives, this significant snapshot, if you like, where we get a glimpse into their heart, their attitude to service. And it got me thinking all sorts of things, like, did this man carrying a jar of water know Jesus personally? Had they met? Who was this man who owned a house that had a guest room that was able to accommodate, the 12 disciples plus Jesus plus staff probably, and that was all furnished and ready to go? Who were these people? We don't really know their story. We don't really know anything besides the fact that they were willing to prepare space and make room for Jesus, and they set the scene for the Last Supper. They set the table where we would first read of and hear, and Judas would first hear of the fact that that Jesus knew that Judas had essentially agreed just previously to betray him. I know that it's not necessarily a profound thing to bring from Luke 22 when there's so much going on. But I know that those of you that will have read the Bible for any length of time will no doubt have read a number of accounts that speak of the crucifixion and speak of the journey to the crucifixion. And I don't doubt that as we get to the concluding chapters that we'll land there too. But I really felt led today to bring this notion of unnamedness, if that's a word, being unseen, being overlooked to the conversation, because perhaps that's what you're feeling and thinking right now. I know that there are seasons in my life that I have felt that tremendously, and whether or not we are seen or visible eventually isn't necessarily the point. What is the point is that when our story is being told, and when Jesus does see our works, what does it look like? What does it signify in relation to him? And I say in relation to him because there are people where we only know of them based on how they positioned themselves in regards to Jesus and what he did or didn't do. In the account where Peter is disowning Jesus before he's then, graciously reconciled later on, there are other unnamed people. For 56 says, a servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him, Peter, this is it, and said, this man was with him, but he denied it. Woman, I don't know him, he said. A little later, someone else. So who's the servant girl? Who's the someone else? Saw him and said, you are also one of them. Man, I am not, Peter replied. About an hour later, another, who's the another, asserted, certainly this fellow was with him, for he's a Galilean. And then Peter denies the third time. And these are all unnamed people, and we only know of their account or of anything based on how they positioned themselves in line with Peter's relationship with Jesus. And that again is striking to me. The guards who mock Jesus towards the end in 63 to 65, they beat and mock Jesus and are telling him to prophesy. And it just again got me thinking, the two men at the start of the story, their story is of hospitality, of making room, of essentially real significance in what they were able to do to prepare for Jesus and the disciples. And then we have the guards, and what we hear and know of them is that they mocked and they accused and they essentially did the complete opposite. And the reason why I feel like this is significant for today, and hopefully it's for someone, and I'd love for you to let me know, whether you email me back or let me know in the comments or whatever it might be, that this is something that resonates with you, because I do feel that as I share today, that actually it's not about being seen, it's about being faithful. And it's not about the outward action so much as your heart and what it is that you're being compelled to do, whatever that looks like. For one man it looked like carrying a water jar at that particular moment, and sure, that wasn't all he did with his life, but that's what we know. And that in relation to Jesus was significant, just as the house owner. So where are you being asked to make room, to show up without applause perhaps? What does that look like for you today? And perhaps there's lots of work going on for you behind the scenes, and if that is the case, I will just leave you with what I shared. If you go back to last week's Nurture Note, then you'll get the full message about Jesus' real rhythm of both like service and self-care, if you like. But I'll leave you with what it says in verse 39, where it says, Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. As usual. It can be so easy to kind of overlook some of these words and phrases, but the fact that we're seeing that Jesus would usually just go out and pray and be with his Father in the Mount of Olives is again a nod to the fact that our work is significant, and so is our rest. And what is your rhythm of rest today, I wonder? Where are you going to fit in what I like to call a me moment today? Really something to just consider, because Jesus modelled it, and so it's important for us, whether our work is something that is being seen from platforms and pulpits, whether that platform is like a classroom or a hospital or an office or a family unit, or whether it's unseen things that won't ever get noticed by people but are all noticed by God. I trust that as you look through Luke 22 with this lens, you recognise that nothing is wasted. Nothing, no action is wasted when it comes to how you are showing up and serving God. And I hope that is of some encouragement to you today. Keep going, keep growing.